Well, a question. Your spiritual you isn't confined to the material body, is it? When I say I, how are you going to localize that? Here, here, in a hand, a head, a heartbeat? No, no. I am not in the physical, absent from the body, present with the Lord. The day begins not where a clock strikes, nor where eyelids lift, but where consciousness knows its source. In him we live and move and have our being. If I am that I, if I and the Father are one, then I cannot climb into God by steps of matter, nor fall out by a turn of the pillow. You can't leave the body because you were never in it. You awaken not into a room, but into remembrance. Therefore, let us reframe the morning. Before a thought begins to run its old errands, before the mind takes hold of its little broom and starts sweeping worries into piles, let one thing be said once, and then be still. Thy grace is my sufficiency in all things. Not my wit, not my plan, not my accumulated prayers. Thy grace. Say it once, and then yield the field. Be still and know that I am God. Not your knowing, God's being. Not your speech, God's presence. This is not technique. Do not make an idol of a sentence. Thou shalt have no other gods before me. The sentence is not a charm. It is a door remembered. It is the echo of the Master's word. My grace is sufficient for thee. It is the consent of the heart to be governed by what already is. When spoken once, truth is not helped by repetition. It is honored by silence. A minute, 60 seconds of holy non-interference. We stop asking, stop using God, stop trying to harness the wind. We stand as instrument. God is the actor and the doer and the beer. In those 60 seconds, let there be no bargaining. Take no thought for your life, for the morrow, for outcomes. Take thought only to be still. If a thought comes, let it pass like a bird that does not nest. If a feeling tries to tug, nod to it and return to the hush. The day will be framed not by the furniture of events, but by the fact of presence. One remembrance and one silence can set the tone for all the hours. It can. It does. I have watched it do so again and again, when the mind would have rushed to manage and instead found itself carried. If you wish a number, hold 3 minutes in trust, the instant of remembrance, the minute of silence, the gentle rise without hurry. But even that is not a method. It is reverence in measure. My conscious oneness with God constitutes my oneness with all spiritual being and idea, and in that oneness the day has already been provided for, directed, and blessed. Love thy neighbor as thyself flows naturally from it, because there is one self known and loved. So we begin here. Say at once, thy grace is my sufficiency in all things, and then be still, and let God be God. Sufficiency is not a warehouse of things, not a fuller pantry, not an improved arrangement of human circumstance. No, no. Thou shalt have no other gods before me. If supply becomes a god, or health becomes a god, or security becomes a god, we have already left sufficiency for idolatry. Sufficiency is the realized presence of the One. My grace is sufficient for thee. Not something added to you, but God as the very life of you. Not an external stream, but the spring itself. Seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you. Added, not chased. Added, not demanded. The sufficiency is the kingdom, and its byproducts are never the objective, only the overflow. To say, thy grace is my sufficiency in all things, is to accept an identity not contained in personal capacity. My conscious oneness with God constitutes my oneness with all spiritual being and idea. In that light, there is no private corner of life to defend, no separate self to aggrandize, no rival to fear. In him we live and move and have our being. The grace that is sufficiency is not localized in a brain or a bank. It is presence, impersonal, universal, indivisible. When I rest in that oneness, when the click comes and union is known rather than wished, harmony appears as idea, companionship, wisdom, timing. It appears, but I do not make it appear. I am merely the instrument. God is the actor and the doer and the beer. Do you see? If I am the instrument, then sufficiency is God's operation in and as consciousness, not my self-improvement project. It is God which worketh in you both to will and to do of his good pleasure. I do not will grace into action. I yield to its action. The shepherd shepherds. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. The absence of want is not the triumph of my planning. It is the fact of his tending. He leadeth, he restoreth, he prepareth. I witness, therefore, never attempt to use this word to get a thing or change a person. Do not put your hand on the wheel. Man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceedeth out of the mouth of God. The word is the life. Bread is the addition. To try to use God is to sow self-will, and whatsoever a man soweth, that shall he also reap. There can be no selfish purpose in a cosmic law. The law is love, and love has no private agenda. So the password is consent, not leverage. It is surrender, not strategy. Thy grace is my sufficiency in all things. I affirm it once, not to awaken God, but to awaken from the dream of a separate self. Then I am still that grace may be grace, and in due season the quiet assurance, the click seals the truth. I and the Father are one, and in that oneness this day is already complete. Let us be exact, not elaborate. 3 minutes are the architecture, no more is needed and no less is sacred. Why 3? Not because God answers on a schedule, but because you and I must honor a frame in which we do not meddle. A frame is not a method. It is a hush around holy ground. Within this small temple of time, there is one act of remembrance, 1 minute of desireless receptivity, and 1 minute of gentle carryover. That is all. No embroidery, no spiritual gymnastics. In quietness and in confidence shall be your strength. The first minute is a settling. Make the body unobtrusive and the mind honest. Without strain, let the breath be what it is. There is nothing to fix, nothing to attract, nothing to repel. Then only once turn within and utter the password, thy grace is my sufficiency in all things, not loudly, not with urgency, but as consent. In that saying, release personal agenda. Lay down the arms of will. Take no thought for your life. Let that word drop like a seed into soil. Do not dig it up to see if it is sprouting. No second utterance. The second makes a method of what must remain surrender. Be still and know that I am God. Not be busy and know, be still. In that stillness, I am merely the instrument. God is the actor and the doer and the beer. The second minute is holy vacancy, 60 seconds of desireless receptivity. No bargaining, no requests, no trying to feel spiritual. If a fear knocks, let it pass. If a hope reaches, let it soften. We are not here to use God. We are here to be available to God. This is not concentration. It is consecration. Rest the mind from image and outcome. Let the silence keep itself. If the click comes, if that imperceptible assurance arises, notice it and do nothing with it. If it does not come, notice that too and do nothing with that. Thy will be done, not my will insisting, not my imagination painting, but the presence being what it is. As you sow, so shall ye reap. So no wanting here. So only yieldedness. The third minute is integration, quiet and unannounced. Do not discuss what happened with yourself. Do not grade the silence. Let the tone walk ahead of you into the day. Rise without hurry. Put a hand to the doorknob of your duties, but keep the heart ungrasping. Let there be no inner press release, no mental testimony eager to be admired. The Lord is my shepherd. I shall not want. Let that fact shepherd you from the chair to the sink, to the phone, to the meeting. Carry not a sentence, but the hush behind the sentence. Allow speech and action to be simple outflow rather than performance. The seed is in the soil. Let it root. You do not tug a building's foundation to help it cure. You do not wave a red flag at a traffic law to make it work. You align, and because you align, harmony governs 3 minutes. 1 remembrance, 1 silence, 1 gentle carryover, and the day proceeds under grace. Now, how shall we sit for this holy minute? Simply, quietly, without drama. Choose a chair that lets the feet find the floor without dangling, that allows the thighs to rest without pinch, that supports the spine without parade. There is no occult reason for it, only one of physical comfort. We are not opening doors in the body. The door is within consciousness. The kingdom of God is within you. Sit easily. Let the eyes close gently as curtains on a stage where no performance is required. Place the hands in the lap or on the thighs, unposed, unfisted, cool as leaves after rain. Let the jaw soften, the tongue lie down, the brow forget its lines. In this position with my eyes closed, I am virtually unaware of having a body absent from the body present with the Lord. Never strain. Never. Do not lift the chest like a banner or hold the breath as if it were a bird you are afraid to lose. Let the breath come and go as the sea goes and comes. You do not push the ocean. Do not count. Do not measure. Do not improve. No fixation on breath. No staring at a point between the eyes. No search for centers or chakras. This is not manipulation. Be still and know that I am God. Not be skillful and know. Be still. The less the body intrudes, the more consciousness is free to rest where it already abides in God. If a foot tingles, shift quietly once and forget it. If the back asks for a pillow, give it modestly and forget it. Adjust. Then release the subject of the body as you would set a child in bed and let the child sleep. Posture is not a sacrament. Presence is. The chair does not confer grace. Grace is the life of you. Our care here is merely to remove the pebble from the shoe so the walk of spirit is unimpeded. You do that, and you do no more. You do not oil the road to make the car go faster. You only keep the brakes from dragging. Beware the itch to make a ceremony of it. No crystals, no scents, no magnetic gazes, no fingers holding signs to the universe. I hope you will never try to do it. Don't ever tamper with a cosmic law because it is a double-edged sword. The law is simple. One God, love. There can be no selfish purpose in a cosmic law. The more apparatus you add, the more you confess a God in matter. Thou shalt have no other gods before me. Let the body be a quiet, courteous servant and nothing more. When the body ceases to shout, the heart hears. My conscious oneness with God constitutes my oneness with all spiritual being and idea. Here, seated, eyes gently closed, doing nothing to the breath, asking nothing of the nerves. I am merely the instrument. God is the actor and the doer and the beer. We walk by faith, not by sight, by rest, not by ritual. So the practice remains pure. We make the body unobtrusive, that consciousness may rest in God, not in technique. Say it once, then be still, and the stillness keeps itself. Now we meet the heart of the matter. The act is a single surrender, not a tool. Speak inwardly once, with sincerity that does not strain. Thy grace is my sufficiency in all things. Not to get a thing, not to turn a key in some celestial lock, but to cease from our own works, one utterance, and then silence. If you feel the tongue wish to say it again, to improve it, to fasten it, to produce a result, no, no, thou shalt have no other gods before me. The God-called outcome must not sit beside the God who is presence, not by might nor by power, but by my spirit, saith the Lord. The temptation to repeat is the old instinct to manipulate. Repetition, when driven by will, tries to turn a prayer into a lever, as if we could pry open heaven by muscle of mind. But cosmic law is not moved by pressure. It is revealed by alignment. 2 times 2 is 4, whether you whisper it or shout it. Shouting at the principle does not change it. Obeying it reveals it. It is the same with a traffic law. You do not honk the stop sign into working order. You stop, and because you stop, safety governs. When you repeat to force, you confess a belief in your own agency. When you say it once and rest, you confess God as the only agency. I can of mine own self do nothing. Let the sentence close the lips of personal will. Let it become the white flag flown over the citadel of self. Thy grace is my sufficiency in all things, and with that the scepter drops from the little hand. Live thou thy life in me, not my planning, thy unfolding, not my will, but thine be done. I am merely the instrument. God is the actor and the doer and the beer. In that yieldedness, the current of spirit is not commanded, it is permitted. You will feel at times a soft, almost unnoticeable assurance, the click, and at other times nothing at all. Both are holy when will is quiet. How is it said? Like a key laid on a table, not like a battering ram at a door. Quietly. Once, ask, and it shall be given you. Seek, and ye shall find. Knock, and it shall be opened unto you. Ask, and then be still. Knock, and then step back from the doorway so it may open inward. Do not peer through the keyhole of sensation to check if God is coming. Do not bargain. Do not grade. The word is seed, the silence is soil. You do not dig up a seed to hurry it, you trust the law within it. Therefore, the single utterance is not a charm, it is cessation. It yields the field to God. It takes the hands off the reins of outcome and places the day beneath the government of grace. My grace is sufficient for thee, and if grace is sufficient, I need not be. I and the Father are one. In that oneness, the shepherd shepherds, the wisdom guides, the love loves. We do not use God. We are available to God. Say it once, let it still the will, and in that holy non-interference, the law of love, impersonal and sure, conducts the hours. As you sow, so shall ye reap. So surrender, and you will reap harmony, not because you made it so, but because God is what God is. This is the holy minute, not an action, but the ceasing of action, not a project, but presence. Here, we stop using God and become available to God. Wait without plan. Wait without desire. Wait for nothing. Nothing. If the heart whispers, should I not at least aim? No, no. Be still and know that I am God. Not be clever and know. Be still. In that stillness, say inwardly, not with words, but with willingness, thy will be done. I am merely the instrument. God is the actor and the doer and the beer. And sometimes in that pause, there is a soft assurance, the click, and sometimes there is none. Both are holy because both surrender the stage to God In these 60 seconds, we do not work, we do not treat, we do not project, we do not send thoughts to people nor draw them to us. I have studiously avoided mental and physical contacts, and I hope you will never try to do it. No reaching out to fix, no inward hands placed upon a nerve, an organ, a country, a crisis. Not by might nor by power, but by my Spirit, saith the Lord. If an image comes of a person in need, of a problem, let it float as a cloud and pass. Do not attach a prayer wrench to it. I can of mine own self do nothing. The very essence of these seconds is non-interference. If you feel nothing, nothing is wrong. The law acts because God is, not because you feel. 2 times 2 is 4, whether you shout it or whisper it or never speak it at all. Your sensation adds no sum to the principle. It is the same with a traffic law. Your thrill does not make the stop sign true. Your obedience does. Obedience here is quiet allowing. In quietness and in confidence shall be your strength. The shepherd shepherds, whether the sheep feels tended or not. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. Trust the fact, not the feeling. The tide will lift the boat whether you sense it's inching or only see the harbor changed. If a thought of tomorrow presses, release it. Take no thought for the morrow. If a hope for a sign tugs, lay it down. Knock and then step back, for it shall be opened unto you. The door does not swing for the peering eye, but for the emptied hall. This is not concentration, it is consecration. Let the breath be. Let the minutes keep themselves. Let God be God. Remember, the kingdom is within you. We are absent from the body, present with the Lord, not by flight, but by non-attachment. 1 minute of such availability textures the day with lawfulness. Whether the click visits or it does not, grace governs, because grace is what God is. Leave it there. Leave it holy, and rise as one kept not by feeling, but by the fact. Rise slowly. Do not snap the twig of silence with a sudden movement of speech or speed. Let the body stand as if carrying a brimming cup, and let the first steps be deliberate. Be swift to hear, slow to speak, slow to wrath. Let your first words be functional, modest, and few, no commentary, no inner press release. Set a watch, O Lord, before my mouth. Keep the door of my lips. You are not leaving holy ground. You are discovering that holy ground travels as consciousness. Absent from the body, present with the Lord, whether the feet are beneath you or the chair holds you, is irrelevant to presence. The hush is not in the room. It is in God. Carry that tone into the smallest tasks. Water running, a dish lifted, a door opened. Do not grade the silence. Do not peer into the moments to see if they glitter more than yesterday. We do not supervise the sunrise. We let the blinds be open and the light enters of itself. Seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you. Added, not audited. A farmer does not pull at the seed to hurry it. He honors the law and trusts the season. It is the same with a traffic law. You do not stand at the corner to coax the signal to change. You align with it, and safety governs. Align and let grace govern. My grace is sufficient. Therefore, stop checking the gauge. If a stir of fear or haste touches you at the sink or on the road, make no battle of it. Without drama, turn inward, not to repeat the password, for that has been spoken and sealed, but to rest in identity. In my oneness with God, I find completeness, security, peace. Whisper it inwardly, not as leverage, but as fact. I can of mine own self do nothing. The Father within me doeth the works. I am merely the instrument. God is the actor and the doer and the beer. Sometimes, without your seeking, the click will brush the heart in the aisle of a market or at a red light. Do nothing with it. Do not clutch. Let it pass through as the breeze through an open window and keep about the day. Do not turn your realization into a tool upon another. No sending, no shaping, no mental hands on persons or events. Love thy neighbor as thyself, which is to recognize one life, one law, one God. My conscious oneness with God constitutes my oneness with all spiritual being and idea. In that recognition, the tone itself blesses without manipulation, as fragrance fills a room without being pushed. So you leave the chair without leaving the presence. Walk softly, work simply, answer plainly. Let there be no hunt for results, no inward stopwatch clicking. Stand still and see the salvation of the Lord, even while your hands move. In quietness and confidence is your strength. In non-interference, the government of grace is free to appear as added things in their own season. And the peace of God, which passeth all understanding, shall keep your heart and mind through the hours, not because you keep it, but because God is what God is. There is a law, and it is not personal. It does not love you more at noon than at night. It does not frown at your neighbor and smile at you because you have learned a phrase. Cosmic law is one God, love, and because it is impersonal, it is utterly safe when obeyed and utterly corrective when ignored. As you sow, so shall ye reap. This is not threat. It is physics of spirit. Sow interference and reap entanglement. Sow surrender and reap harmony, not a reward, but a revelation. You do not persuade 2 times 2 to become 4, you align with it. Violate 2 times 2 is 4, and the principle corrects you. It will not change its nature to bless your miscalculation. It is the same with thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. Violate it, and you bring the strain of violation upon your own structure. Honor it, and the architecture of your day holds. Therefore, hear me, we do not use God. We do not bend this remembrance toward getting to turn thy grace as my sufficiency in all things into a lever for a parking place or a person, a contract or a conquest, is to set another God beside God. Thou shalt have no other gods before me. The God called outcome must not sit in the sanctuary. Don't ever tamper with a cosmic law, because it is a double-edged sword. If you try to swing it for private gain, the edge that faces you will teach you who holds the sword. Be not deceived. God is not mocked. For whatsoever a man soweth, that shall he also reap. If you plant a seed labeled mine, do not expect a harvest labeled thine. Be done. Understand the nature of correction. When an engineer ignores the load that steel must bear, the bridge does not punish, it fails and thus instructs. It is the same with a traffic law. You do not argue with a red light if you run it. The danger is your teacher. So too with love as law. The moment you attempt to use prayer to adjust another, the strain is in you. The moment you stand in oneness, the burden is off you and God is God. I have studiously avoided mental and physical contacts, and I hope you will never try to do it. I never give human advice. Why? Because God is the actor and the doer and the beer. I am merely the instrument. I can of mine own self do nothing. Hold the password as surrender, not as strategy. If a desire sneaks in wearing religious clothing, see it, bow to it, and let it pass. Return to law, one God, love. Love worketh no ill to his neighbor. Therefore, love is the fulfilling of the law. To align with this impersonal law is protection. To attempt to use it is peril. Let the day be governed because you have ceased to govern. My conscious oneness with God constitutes my oneness with all spiritual being and idea. In that oneness, nothing can be added by will, and nothing needs to be, because grace is sufficient and cannot be improved. You will meet hindrances, not enemies, merely weather. The first is the restless mind with its errands and rehearsals. Do not fight it. No, no. When thoughts race like traffic, you do not stop the highway. You step back from the curb and let the cars pass. When birds cross the sky, you do not grab ladders and nets. You watch the flight and remain still. Take no thought for your life. Do not improve the thoughts or edit them. Let them come, let them go, and return to willingness. Be still and know that I am God. I am merely the instrument. God is the actor and the doer and the beer. The return is quiet, unforced, simply relax back into the minute of desireless receptivity. Do nothing extra. Another voice will say, I have no time. 3 minutes, can I afford it? Hear this. 3 minutes taken from self-will will save you hours of reactivity. You can burn half a day mopping what 1 minute of hush would have kept from spilling. It is the same with a traffic law. Pausing at the red saves collisions you would be long in repairing. Redeem the time by consecrating the first minute. You are not delaying the day, you are aligning the day. Seek ye first the kingdom of God, and all these things shall be added unto you. Added time? Not more hours, but fewer undoings. A calibrated instrument completes its work with less waste. So too this practice calibrates the heart before you pick up your tasks. Then there is the disappointment of no sensation, no light, no thrill, no click. Trust the law, not the weather of feeling. We walk by faith, not by sight. 2 times 2 is 4, whether you tremble or yawn. Your sensation adds nothing to principle. Never, not a bit of forcing is needed. Do not press the silence to yield a taste. That is, appetite posing as devotion. In quietness and in confidence shall be your strength. If nothing appears, nothing is wrong. The shepherd shepherds, whether the lamb feels tended or simply grazes. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. Leave it there. Worst of all is self-judgment. I failed, I drifted, I forgot. I am unworthy to practice. No, forgive yourself as you would your neighbor. I say not unto thee, until 7 times, but until 70 times 7. You have as much right to forgive yourself 70 times 7 as to forgive your neighbor, for it is oneself loved in both. Judge not, that ye be not judged. If you sow condemnation, you reap strain. If you sow mercy, you reap ease within which God can be God. His mercies are new every morning. Then let yours be new every morning. Return tomorrow without drama. My conscious oneness with God constitutes my oneness with all spiritual being and idea. That fact is not altered by yesterday's noise. Do nothing extra, release effort, trust law, and return tomorrow. Speak once, be still, let grace govern, and rise under the quiet government you did not manufacture. Thy grace is my sufficiency in all things. I do not bring you fireworks. I bring you the quiet report of an ordinary day that becomes orderly when grace is given the field. Again and again, without fanfare, the guidance comes at the proper second, an impulse to wait before sending a letter, to listen an extra sentence before speaking, to turn left instead of right in an errand. And later, it is revealed that harm was spared or good was met. Tempers cool without debate. Provision appears in the form of a call, a cancellation fee forgiven, a solution that arrives while the mind is washing dishes. In all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy paths. That is all I can say. Acknowledged, not managed. Directed, not performed. Results belong to God. Our part is receptivity, not performance. Not by might nor by power, but by my spirit, saith the Lord. Many have written that in hours of need, a calm arrived as if someone were in the room. I was not. No, I was never there as person, and I never sent myself. My conscious oneness with God constitutes my oneness with all spiritual being and idea. Therefore, when oneness is realized, presence is present as peace, where peace is needed, not because I stretched across miles, but because God is not measured in miles. In Him we live and move and have our being. Absent from the body, present with the Lord. Do not make a wonder of it, and I beg you, never try to reproduce it. I have studiously avoided mental and physical contacts. I did not consciously project myself, and I hope you will never try to do it. Leave the phenomenon to God. I am merely the instrument. God is the actor and the doer and the beer. Often I am asked, what shall I do about this job, this child, this diagnosis? I never give human advice. Never. I can of mine own self do nothing. If I am approached, I go within. I rest in the silence. I allow the one utterance to close the lips of will, and I wait. Sometimes the very asking dissolves the fear, and the person sees the step. Sometimes the outer arrangement changes of itself. Sometimes nothing visible changes, and yet the peace that passes understanding keeps the heart and mind, and from that peace a wise action appears. It is God which worketh in you both to will and to do of his good pleasure. As with mathematics, 2 times 2 is 4, whether or not we announce it. As with a traffic law, safety governs when we align. I align, and law does what law is. Do not hunger for signs. We walk by faith, not by sight. If the click comes, bow inwardly and keep steady. If it does not, bow inwardly and keep steady. The shepherd shepherds, whether the lamb thrills or simply grazes. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. Let testimony remain this simple. I yielded, and grace governed. Thy grace is my sufficiency in all things, and because it is his grace, it requires no spotlight and leaves none upon me. Rhythm is mercy. His mercies are new every morning, and so we meet them every morning. Choose a simple constancy, the same chair, the same hour, not because a chair is holy or a clock divine. No, there is no occult reason for it. It is only kindness toward the body and the mind. Familiarity lowers resistance. The body, greeted at the same place and time, ceases to petition, and the mind, relieved of novelty, stops expecting performance. Enter into thy closet, and when thou hast shut thy door, do so at the same dawn, if you can. In that gentle sameness the path wears smooth, the step is quieter, the hush arrives with less persuasion. And sometimes, not because you have earned it, but because you have ceased to reach for it, the click visits unannounced, unrequired, like a bird that returns to a branch it has learned is safe. Let today's 3 minutes prepare tomorrow's. You are not stacking up merit, you are removing friction. Faithful smallness accumulates as courage and trust. It is the way a brook, fed by unseen springs, becomes a stream, and a stream a river through the week. Give us this day our daily bread, not tomorrow's bread, not yesterday's bread, this day. Take this day's crumb of silence, and you will find tomorrow's hunger gentler, your hands less fidgeting to bake outcomes of their own. Principle does not change 2 times 2 is 4, but your alignment becomes prompt, like a driver who, pausing at the same corner each dawn, no longer argues with the red. It is the same with a foundation. You do not pour a city in an afternoon. You set, you cure, you set again. Line upon line, precept upon precept, here a little and there a little. Each morning, once, thy grace is my sufficiency in all things, and then be still. The sentence does not grow stronger by repetition. You grow quieter by obedience. Do not gather an audience. Do not even gather yourself into importance. Knock at the door of your own consciousness. It will be opened unto you. Return. Close the door. Say it once, and wait. Notice the tone of the day as you would notice whether not to command it, but to dress rightly within it. You may find that you are swift to hear, slow to speak, slow to wrath without deciding to be. You may find emails unwritten and peace unbroken. In all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy paths. Acknowledged, not advertised. Directed, not dramatized. And this rhythm is ethical without your policing it. For when the heart rests in sufficiency, it ceases to grasp. Thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself becomes natural law. When I want nothing you have and you want nothing I have, there is cooperation, not contest. My conscious oneness with God constitutes my oneness with all spiritual being and idea. From that oneness, harmony conducts the errands of the hour. If a day is missed, return without ceremony. 70 times 7 includes your mornings. Morning by morning he wakeneth mine ear to hear. Let him waken it again tomorrow. Do not add vows. Do not threaten yourself with programs. Keep the chair, keep the hour, keep the practice small and faithful. I am merely the instrument. God is the actor and the doer and the beer. The brook at the base of the hill does not lecture the mountain. It runs, and by running it gathers. So with you, faithful smallness, repeated, becomes a river of grace through the week, and the week becomes a quiet country governed by a law you did not invent and cannot improve. Only honor, only receive, only walk within. Beloved, now we seal the morning, not by adding, but by acknowledging. Identity first, always identity. I and the Father are one. I am not in the physical. I am never contained in bone or brain or blood. Absent from the body, present with the Lord. When I say I, do not try to localize it in a shoulder or a skull. No. I am that I am. In him we live and move and have our being. My conscious oneness with God constitutes my oneness with all spiritual being and idea. Here, without effort, the day is already under government, not mine, his. The shepherd shepherds. The vine supplies the branch. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. Now the seal itself said once and surrendered, thy grace is my sufficiency in all things. Once. Not as lever, never as lever, but as relinquishment. And then be still, and know that I am God. Let gratitude close the lips of will. Let praise, not petition, be the fragrance of this minute, not by might, nor by power, but by his Spirit. The prayer has been spoken. The door has been knocked upon. Now step back from the threshold so it may open inward of itself. If the heart would add one more word to make it work, no. Thou shalt have no other gods before me, not even the God called outcome. From this hush, let love go forth without sending. We do not project, we do not perform, we allow. Love thy neighbor as thyself, one life, one law, one God. In my oneness with God, I find completeness, and there is nothing to take. I find security, and there is nothing to fear. I find peace, and there is nothing to fight. The law is impersonal and sure. As you sow, so shall ye reap. So surrender, reap harmony. The principle is unaltered. 2 times 2 is 4, whether we thrill or yawn. Therefore, we add no pressure. We rest. We consent. We walk. And so I bless the hours before you, not by stretching mind across them, but by recognizing God already there. He shall give his angels charge over thee. May the tone of sufficiency be the atmosphere of your errands. May you be swift to hear, slow to speak, slow to wrath. May the peace of God, which passeth all understanding, keep your heart and mind without your supervision, and may the unnoticed click or the noble quiet without click alike be holy to you. I am merely the instrument. God is the actor and the doer and the beer. I and the Father are one. I am not in the physical. I am that I am. Thy grace is my sufficiency in all things, once and then still. Let gratitude answer for us now. Amen. And so it is. And I thank you